So we should be live right now. We should be live. So for everyone that is coming to this stream, that is watching it later on, we are going to be talking about quite a lot of topics today. The topics we're going to be covering are the fact that Caitlyn Clark went out of her way to try help Iowa scout for Juju Watkins, being Juju on freaking scout team. Like literally, she chose to be Juju on scout team. Malaysia Fulwiley, not arguably the best transfer remaining player, is looking like she might end up with LSU, forming one of the craziest backcourts in the history of college basketball in Flaw J. Johnson and Fulwiley. As well as that, South Carolina have finally got some size. They have got some size, and obviously we'll talk about the great Caitlyn Clark water bottle. But yeah, so obviously the chat box is going to be here for anyone that is in the stream. And for anyone who is late to this, I will be live most days. I'm not going to say every day, but it will be most days. It will definitely be most days that we are going to be live. So we've 44 people in here right now. Thanks to everyone that is in here. And if somebody could comment in chat just so I can make sure it works, that would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, so good morning, Greens from Tennessee. How are you? So yeah, we got a lot of people in here, and obviously, look, I'm trying to, as much as possible, not overlap with did I misspell Caitlyn Clark? Yep, I spelled Caitlyn Clark with an ending with an or. Oh no, what am I talking about? There's no E in Clark. Oh, Clakr. Clark, there we go. I was about to say, ended it with an or. Please tell me I misspelled Caitlyn correct. I spelled Caitlyn correct. I did, in fact, spell Caitlyn correct. Howdy from Iowa. How are you? How is everybody from this stream? It's always great to see, obviously, people from all over the world. Top of the morning. I can't believe I'm sticking with that, but as an Irish man, sometimes you got to just make jokes about yourself. Sometimes you got to just make jokes about yourself. First time listening, you're from Iowa. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks again to everyone that is obviously listening in on these streams. But yeah, it's a... Oh my God. I just saw this tweet. Coming in late. I have to respond to this tweet. This is one of the funniest things. This is actually, I love this tweet. Someone just says, which Angel Reese or Angel Wilson fan is doing this? No Angel Reese fan has ever seen Caitlyn has a rival, even though they've been playing each other for years. Obviously, every Angel Reese fan. This is an AI channel. This is AI. My face probably props up 6 minutes ago. Angel Wilson's reaction to Caitlyn Clark's transformation. This is AI. Angel Wilson begs the WNBA to suspend Caitlyn Clark. This is AI. This is AI. This isn't real. Who thinks that the channel, a YouTube channel, Speed Trendy, is a real person? Caitlyn Clark dominates Angel Reese and shocks anyone. If you see this thumbnail, it is AI. If you see this thumbnail, it is AI. If you see my face pop up on the screen, the channel is not called Mixed Talks Hoops, it is AI. Oh my God, lads. These people be tripping. It's AI. It's AI rage bait. Oh my God. Oh my God. Thank you so much, Taurasi. You don't have to do that. Thank you so much, man. Oh my God. Thank you. I appreciate all the donations so much. But oh my God. Thank you so much. $50. So don't worry, thank you again. And just for that, I'll try stream as much as I humanly freaking possible for you guys. Thank you guys so much for all the support. You guys don't know how much it means. And there's a reason why I record, stream, do stuff every waking hour. But one thing I do have to say is the amount of the AI stuff is hilarious. It's actually hilarious. And all of these troll things, they are so funny. They're actually so funny. Like, that people are actually talking about it like it's a freaking real person. Like, Caitlyn Clark playing in Europe, apparently, I guess. Caitlyn Clark's playing in Europe. Angel Reese is suspended for steroids. They're the normal ones, aren't they? If they get Sarah Williams... And Sarah Williams? What? What? I'm not entirely sure what that means. But the first main topic on this live stream we're going to be covering is actually something really, really interesting. And it is about Caitlyn Clark right here. You can see, obviously, this was the jersey retirement ceremony. And it was her leading up to that, finding out that Caitlyn Clark, like, Coach Jan Jensen was talking on Iowa Live, but Caitlyn, or Jan Jensen told them the day of practice, Caitlyn Clark joining, they were going, what? Trying to keep calm, collective. And they had the best practice. Lucy was nervous, but was so excited. And again, like, obviously, some of the Iowa players were teammates of Caitlyn. A lot of them weren't. And also the fact that we've heard that, like, Caitlyn went out of her way to text Jan Jensen. Went out of her way to coach Jan Jensen before the USC game to let her practice with the team, or to let her practice the team. And Jan was going, what? And her saying, yes, I'll be Juju. And obviously a video that has not come out yet, but I would assume this is very true because nobody's putting up freaking receipts for this if it's not true. As well as that, it is confirmed that Caitlyn Clark did practice with the team and that Caitlyn Clark was Juju on scout teams. And not only that, they won the game. They beat USC, who at that stage of the year had only lost to Notre Dame. I wish they released the practice video. And that is an absolute crazy one. Like, and that just sums it up. To be honest, I would say Caitlyn Clark, as much as anything, just wanted to have it to work out. I actually think that Caitlyn Clark probably was like, oh, I'm in Iowa. You know what? It's a better workout. If I'm Juju, they're focused on guarding me. I'm going to have a whole team guarding me. This is a great workout for me. I'd say there was definitely some form of, selfishness in that, but also it's going to help this team. And obviously what Caitlyn Clark managed to do, or what Caitlyn Clark managed to do on that day. Sorry, what am I talking about? Like, Caitlyn Clark was there in attendance. And you could obviously talk about the Caitlyn Clark effect and all that. But what the Iowa basketball team did on that day was incredible. Like, they held Juju Watkins to the worst 27 points I've ever seen. Like, Juju did not play well. That 27 points was the fakest 27 points I've seen in my life. And Lucy Olsen had 28 and was the best player on the floor. The best player on the floor. Not only that, if you're looking at Lucy Olsen, she had 4 assists, she had 3 steals, and she did an unbelievable job guarding Juju Watkins, who actually didn't have a lot of turnovers for her. Kiki Uriafen was being guarded by Sita Fulter. Fulter didn't score much, but or didn't shoot the ball particularly well. 9 boards, 5 steals, and did an unbelievable job on Kiki Uriafen. Rhea Marshall, they kept her completely out of the game, and Rhea Marshall a lot better than, to be fair, we saw after Juju went down, she's a lot better than we think. And then obviously Addie O'Grady coming in with 13 points. Guyton was 1 of 9, which was typical game for her. Like, I think there's a lot of talent in Guyton, and I don't think Iowa was the right place for her. I do think her transferring probably will work out best for her, to be honest. Like, I just don't know with Addie Deal coming in how much she was going to play. And this is an Iowa team, by the way, that had not unleashed. They had not unleashed their freshman superstar yet. They had not unleashed the secret weapon that was Ava Hayden yet. Ava Hayden had not been unleashed by that stage in the season. And they still managed to go and win, which is incredible. And like, more so than that, like, it is crazy that we obviously are looking at Caitlyn Clark when she had graduated from college. And I know it's a really common thing for a lot of pro basketball players, like that they go back to where the colleges were to work out over the summer. Like one of my former teammates coached for a summer in North Carolina, just as kind of like an extra coach they brought on to help with their team over a summer. And he was saying that like a lot of the former North Carolina players are there working out in their off season. And obviously Caitlyn Clark stuck in Indiana. But the fact is she just comes back to Iowa and immediately is still trying to help that team. Just like earlier on in the season when Caitlyn Clark and Kate Martin and Gabby Marshall were back, and straight away she was there at practice with them. She was at practice trying to hype them up. She was trying to hype up Hannah Stuelke, who I don't think Hannah Stuelke had a bad year, but didn't have the greatest year in the world. And it's just such a positive thing. It is such a positive thing. And it just shows again how important what Iowa did for Caitlyn and what Caitlyn did for Iowa. Like, that's something, there's a reason why Caitlyn was seen as Caitlyn. Like, she didn't go to a UConn. She stayed at home. She stayed at home. She brought Iowa, who weren't expected. Albeit Iowa were good. To say Iowa weren't good, like, you're acting like the year before they didn't have 2 years earlier, they had Megan Gustafson, who was obviously incredible. And then the 1920 season, they were still pretty damn good. Like, I'm pretty sure they had, if I'm not mistaken, who was it that they had? They had, I can't even remember what her name was, the point guard. The point guard before Caitlyn Clark was like an All-American. So it's not like they were a bad team, but nobody thought that they were going to get like this. Nobody thought they were going to be this good. Kathleen Doyle, that was her name. They had Kathleen Doyle. But like, if you could imagine what like Iowa would have looked like had Caitlyn Clark been there with Meg Gustafson. If you could imagine what Iowa would look like. And to be honest, it's probably better for Caitlyn Clark that Kathleen Doyle had left, so that Caitlyn Clark wasn't going to have to play a lot off the ball. But just overall, the whole Caitlyn Clark Iowa story, what Iowa women's team has done, effectively rendering the men's basketball team in Iowa the second most popular team in that college. Seeing Addie Deal going to Iowa and seeing all this stuff, like, you're looking at a team that doesn't pay players a serious amount of money, but is still in the running for a lot of top recruits. And yeah, just a crazy situation. And it's good to see as well Caitlyn Clark doing what she can to give back to Iowa, because, well, yeah, like what Caitlyn Clark did for Iowa is something that no player can or will be ever able to replicate. But at the same time, thank you so much for the $2. Thank you. Good morning. But at the same time, what Iowa did for Caitlyn Clark was they allowed Caitlyn to be Caitlyn, whereas I don't know how many college coaches would have done that. If she gone to Notre Dame, maybe, but had she gone to UConn where she wanted to go, Caitlyn's going to be playing small forward while watching Paige Bueckers, while just playing in a system, and women's basketball is probably still back where it was in 2022, and I'm probably not making this video. But anyway, yeah, that's the video. I'll see you guys. There we go. Thank you, guys. Sorry, recording a video there on stream. No, Iowa are going to be good next year. Iowa are going to be good. But we've got to talk about what is going to be one of the funnest teams. Workout. Someone just asked for a workout video. Yeah, my ability to play basketball has actually just... It's only this year that I've started kind of playing again. Like, I hadn't really played since I was like early 20s. How bad I am at basketball right now. Oh my god. On the plus side, though, I'm down 23 pounds since the start of February. On the plus side, getting back to the weight I was when I was good at basketball. About 15 pounds off getting back to my playing weight, but like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I had a kind of fucked up looking jump shot, but I used to practice so much that I was still near 40% shooter. It's the reason why I played at the level I played at. But like, dear Lord, when you have a messed up looking jump shot and you don't play ball seriously for a few years, you start to make air ball off right, off left, and I'm like, oh no. I've become such a bad shooter that I'm like, I actually have nothing left in my game. But anyway, yeah, like Malaysia Fulwiley is obviously the most interesting player left. The most interesting player that is left in college ball. And the rumor is that she is going to LSU. Like, I don't know how true. I'm not going to be quoting Twitter. Because looking at, there was a post that I saw, screenshot out of a Discord, that in fairness is normally right. Like, this person who got quoted is normally right. But I'm not going to say it because nothing's been confirmed. But the rumor is that Fulwiley did not want to leave South Carolina. Let's just put it at that. And if you guys are happy, leave a like. If you guys are also in the live stream, we're only at 64 likes. We got 230 people. We can easily get to 100 likes right now. But leave a like if you guys think that, if you guys are excited to see Fulwiley play in a system that is like not South Carolina, because it is looking like the rumor is that she's going to be going to LSU. Why would she leave? You get the bag for transferring. There's a reason why you're gonna see four transfers. But yeah, like obviously, look, when this page is not talking about Caitlyn Clark, they're normally kind of on the money. So I will show the trendy hoop stars. There's growing speculation that LSU has emerged a front runner for both Malaysia Fulwiley and Sarah Williams. Like, if they get both of them, they're gonna be tough. They're gonna be so tough. Like, obviously, you've got Michaela Williams, you've got Flaw J. Johnson. So your starting five is, you're gonna actually have two combo guards in Fulwiley and Flaw J, kind of sharing the one. Then you're gonna have Michaela Williams, Sarah Williams, and whoever they have at center. And I'm pretty sure LSU... Did LSU get your one from Notre Dame, I think? Am I right in saying they got Notre Dame center? No, they lost Del Rosario. Who did they get? I think, if I'm not mistaken, did they not get a tall player from somewhere? I'm not sure. They should limit one. Kay Kova went to LSU. Yeah, they got her in, so she might end up starting at the center. It's like that LSU team would be not only good, it would be so fun. Like, as a basketball fan, I just want to watch fun basketball. And like, as much as anything, like, I will say this, Mulkey doesn't give guards that much freedom. Historically, it hasn't given guards a crazy amount of freedom. But we saw last year with what happened to the like leap that was taken by Flaw J. Johnson. Like, Flaw J. Johnson was a fantastic player last season, and she had more freedom. She was able to handle the ball more. So I do think when it's Mulkey, there's a little bit more of an adaptability rather than, say, like, you're as successful as Gino and what's his name, successful as Gino and Dawn Staley are. Very much when it comes to those, it's like, you fit my system and that's it. And I think for the sake of, for just the good of basketball, it's going to be great to see Fulwiley playing with freedom and still playing with a coach that's going to instill some discipline. So it's not like, again, Kiyomi McMillan who goes to Rutgers. And I'm guessing Penn State gave her the bag when she goes to Penn State, because a player that talented going to Penn State, she definitely got the bag. That's all I'm going to say. I wonder how much, though. But, like, there's obviously teams where it would be nice, where it'd be interesting seeing people go to. Like, Fulwiley to TCU would have actually been a really nice transfer prior to Olivia Miles. And, like, Olivia Miles is probably not transferring, wouldn't be too happy with bringing it. Well, wouldn't be too happy. I don't think they'd be too happy bringing in two of those guards, but I wouldn't mind Fulwiley there. But it is going to be so fun to watch this LSU team if Full Wiley ends up there. If Full Wiley ends up playing at LSU, you have got... It's just fun basketball. And as a fan, that's what people want to see. Like, Full Wiley is this close to being like one of the faces of women's basketball. Genuinely. She is this close to being at the at that level. But there's just a consistency problem. There's a pretty big consistency problem when it comes to Full Wiley. And that consistency problem did not get fixed under Dawn Staley. Like, Dawn Staley, with what she was trying to do with Full Wiley, it wasn't working. And it's completely fine, by the way. That's not a knock on Dawn Staley as a coach. Like, you don't have the success Dawn Staley has had without being a really good coach. But at the same time, not every coach is right for every player. And I don't think, because of the lack of improvement between year 1 and year 2, Staley was the right coach for her. It'll be interesting to see, if she does go to LSU, how she gets on with Mulkey. And KK Arnold got the dog award from KP. Okay. I like KK Arnold. I like KK Arnold as a player. Like, again, I don't know like what her actual peak is as a player, but I do like KK Arnold. I think she just has something. She has something. But again, like, you're looking at somebody who didn't play. Who didn't start at all this season. Averaged 5 points a game, but no, I like KK Arnold. But yeah, it's college ball next year is going to be very fun, because especially if this LSU team is a thing, and like South Carolina got better as well. Like, if we're being honest, South Carolina got better. They were missing Ashlyn Watkins. It's tough to play without Ashlyn Watkins, or how good she is. They have got themselves Medina Okot from Mississippi State, who is just size. Is she going to be absolutely spectacular? No, but she's huge. She's size that they didn't have last year. And you bring in Tania Latson, who is a more polished version of Malaysia Full Wiley. Doesn't quite have the upside, but is 100% more polished. So South Carolina are going to be good. UConn lose Paige Bueckers. They lost Caitlyn Chen, but they're definitely going to bring in at least one transfer. And obviously, KK Arnold is going to take the step up. Sarah Strong might be the best player in college next year. Full Wiley would never go to LSU. She should go to the Big 12 or ACC. I just think I'd be interested to see how she gets on, because like, I just think that it just wasn't the right fit for her to stay, just because she was coming off the bench for her third year and there was a lack of improvement between year 1 and year 2. And I just personally think that Full Wiley's going to be a player that's going to improve by being allowed to play through her mistakes. And you could see towards the end at South Carolina, she was just almost in fear every time she made a mistake that she was getting subbed off. And that meant she compounded mistakes. So it'll be an interesting one to see. And I do think Full Wiley outside South Carolina, what it will do as much as anything is it will, like, she's already won a championship. She's already played in the final. So now it's just about becoming the best player you can be and as a pro. And we'll see really this year where Full Wiley's going to be, because there is a world where Full Wiley is the number 1 pick in 2027. But there's also a world where Full Wiley is kind of just a second round pick. So yeah, that is going to be an interesting one there anyway. But yeah, so let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about these players, about these teams, and who you guys think is going to win. Everything's all good with the stream, yeah? Sometimes my computer is like very old. I'm buying a new one soon enough, but I need before I spend big money. Before I spend big money, I'm currently in the process of moving, so I have a lot of money to spend on, you know. I can't have money before I cover everything. I need to do a bit of work in the house I'm moving into, and then pay quite a bit of money to get this house ready to be rented out. So that'll be a bit costly. How are you? Dave from Montana, how are you? How is everybody? We got 246 in here. Can we get to 100 likes? Can we get to 100 likes? Air conditioning in the next house? Of course not. I live in Ireland. Why do I need AC? WNBA back in 2 weeks, 100%. I cannot wait for the season to start. And I cannot wait just for content. It's the biggest reason why I'm really excited about this season is that, yeah, obviously, look, the main draw is Caitlyn Clark. But unlike last year, Caitlyn's not the only draw. Like last year, we can be honest, when it came to making content, Caitlyn was the only draw to start. Caitlyn was the only draw. Angel was kind of a 1B draw. And then obviously the Sky was the B story. There was the B story of last season. And then there were like mini stories out of the story. Like Chennedy Carter became a story. Marina Mabry became a story. And then you could make videos about those players when they became a story. And the good thing is when it came to Unrivaled, when it came to college, when it came to these rookies, when it came to all this stuff, is that there's going to be a lot less of needing to hyper focus on 1 to 2 players to create stories. Like you can focus on games. Like people are going to care about these free agents. People care about the links because a lot of people watched the finals last year. There's a lot more interesting things that I think is going to be really, really positive for the WNBA next season. And it's the reason why you love live watch parties and many creators do. Yeah, I've got something big planned for the watch parties. Like really, really big plan for the watch parties. And it's going to be obviously similar to last year, but different. But yeah, the only thing is that I need to wait until, before I say anything more, I need to wait until the start of May before I'm able to tell you guys for sure. Candy Carter's on Neon. Yeah, that was kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. And that is the mad thing, is where Kennedy Carter literally, like, who would have ever guessed that it was going to be on a Neon live stream that Kennedy Carter would reemerge on Neon, like. Like, I've known that kid. I'm going to be watching the Iowa. Yeah, I'm going to be watch partying every Fever game, except for there's one Fever game and it's on a Friday. I think it's like Friday, 31st of August or something. That I can't. It's for a while to get in a shoe deal. No, she might be playing at LSU. She might actually be playing at LSU, which would be crazy. Which genuinely would be crazy. But yeah, it's a watch party Iowa versus Brazil national team. Sorry, yeah, I'm doing that. But there's one game where I'm just not around. And I think there'll be like 4 or 5 games that I'm just not going to be around for. Other than that, like, where I'll be out of the country. But I would be very confident that 40 of the 44 Fever games I'll be live for. Like, I think that's a fair amount of games, is it? Top of the morning, cleaner version of CC for Caitlyn Clark. Caitlyn's coming for you. Caitlyn Clark 22 part 2. Am I right with that? Am I right with that? All right with that? I gotta say, appreciate, like, this is a good song. Like, it's not, are you the Pope be Frank? Like, this is big fan of this. The Pope in chat, yeah. Wait, were you guys in the chat yesterday? And I'm not joking when I say this. So, like, the Pope, you obviously just were gone. You weren't in the stream anymore. And you hadn't commented in a while. And somebody commented, rest in peace, the Pope. Obviously, the Pope had passed away, rest in peace. And I thought they said, rest in peace, that Pope, as in you weren't in chat. And I was like, no, he might come back at some stage. And I'm like, oh my God, I've just said that live on stream. I just misinterpreted it and basically said he was going to come back from the dead. That was not my finest moment. Not my finest moment on stream.
Coming for you. What's with all the hype? Is it all because she white?
Oh,
It's coming for you. Nah, she a dog. She can ball like she might. Caitlyn's coming for you. Soaring through the sky, it's a Hawkeye legend. Caitlyn's coming for you. Now the fever on fire, WNBA jam. Fast break, she on the move. Go hard, win or lose. Dog on the court, but show charm in an interview. Even though they all hating, even though it's all Caitlyn. Sorry, bust your balls, but this year gonna be hard breaking.
And that's all you're getting on this stream. And what I'm going to tell you guys to do is, at the end of this stream, you guys can hear up to this point. Banger. Absolute banger. From the Pope B. Frankie's in the chat. At the end of this stream, go and watch this. Go and watch this. Not going to play the whole thing on stream. Just enough so that you guys are going to want to hear the rest of it. Go to his channel. Go to his channel. Not now. Not while I'm live. Not while I'm live, you know. You can watch it whenever, when I'm done. But yes, when I'm done, I'll leave a link at the end of this stream. I'll be probably streaming for another 45 minutes. I'm going to leave a link to the song during this stream. So you can go there after the stream. I need to stop saying no problem. And it's always a good thing. And it's the one thing if I consider doing any collabs on content. Like, it would have to be the kind of the right thing. It would have to be kind of the right video, and it would have to make sense. And that's the one thing where I'm like, coming from, like, I've been doing this full time for the last, like, 10 years as a job, like, so when it comes to collabs making sense is the most important thing. And it's like, not even just for benefit, being like, does it kind of make sense? Do the kind of channels align? Does the collab make sense for a specific video? And also ask the question of, does a collaboration make a video better, or does one person giving their opinion and putting it on their own channel, is that more beneficial than a collab? Does each individual person doing their own thing and posting it in their own channel and giving their own perspective on a topic, is that more beneficial than a collab? Get on stream with Quita or Robin. Like, again, you have to ask that question. Is it more beneficial? Is it more beneficial for any of us to just give our own opinions? Because let's be real, we're all kind of in the same space, and we all kind of overlap. We all do our own things differently, and we all overlap slightly. So when it comes to every creator, it's like we all put our own spin on what it is, and we all overlap with content. We all overlap with ideas. We all overlap with, like, realistically, when it comes to things like titles, because things work, we all overlap, and it's very much like talking about similar things but giving our own opinions. And that's why I think this kind of scene has blown up so much, because the real media has done such a bad job of it. The media has done such a bad job of it. And when you look at content for the WNBA, if you are interested in the WNBA, no matter what you are looking for, you can find it from somewhere. In Robin Lundberg collab, it would be cool, but you'd have to also ask, what would it be the collab be for? And again, how would it benefit both of us rather than just hearing us chat? Which I think there's value in that. There is value in that as well. But I think if you look at Robin, like, I would say Robin is freaking working non-stop, because he's, like, you see it with his content when it comes to news stuff. Like, he's on the go all the time and works a full-time job. I have the benefit of, this is my job. So obviously that's the thing. But one thing I really would have liked to have done, I really want to do throughout the year, is chat with Hunter Cruz about draft prospects, because that's something that I'm really interested in. He just actually released his 2026 prospect. Thank you to Pope. Thank you for the $10. Appreciate you. Yeah, like, thank you so much. I'll get you back. I will get you back. Just a conversation chats what you're there for. Accent and a rare seat swears. I thought you were about to say sweat, like when the air conditioning was off and I was just pumping sweat in videos. Yeah, but it's like, that's the thing. We're all going to be here long enough. We're all, Hunter Cruz collab would change everything. Yeah, like, I'm going to be honest, when it comes to all the YouTube content, the only person that I watch is Hunter Cruz, because you kind of, and then I watch a lot of kind of Quita's old stuff because I just like basketball and I like the league. But one really interesting thing, debate a topic, game plans, other basketball content. Yeah, like debating a topic could be interesting, but I think there's a lot of times we have the same opinion on topics. I think what could have been good was, with a lot of these creators talking about the draft, someone says I watch him also. I'm genuinely, I'm going to say this right now. I do not know, or sorry, not that I don't know. I had never seen that guy's content until people started spamming him in my comments. I did not know who he was. And then, obviously, there's going to be overlapping content. Like, that is just what happens. And to be honest, like, there was a spell where I was just taking it handy. Like, I very much, I took it really, really handy for a few months because I was like, I know when it was going to be really hectic for the WNBA season. So I was late to a lot of news. And to be fair, like, if that ends up, like, if you want to look at something, make it look bad, okay. But, like, we all kind of know that that's the case. Like, we all find our content by either doing this, by either going on Twitter and seeing something, or we go and type in Caitlyn Clark to Google, hit news, hit tools, sort by, date, and we just scroll through this till we find an article we find. Or we do the same with Paige Bueckers. Like, we all do the same thing. But with Hunter Cruz, it's the funniest thing is his number one prospect next year is a player that I'm so high on, Awafam. And I coached against her brother. Her brother moved over to Ireland when he was like 17 and played for a while. Like, did I coach against him? I think I coached against him. Never played against him. I practiced, before I tore my Achilles, I practiced a good few times with a team that were in the same league as her brother was in, and lost to her brother's team in the semi-final. But I was just trying to, I practiced with them that year to get back in shape. Planning on going playing with them next year, then snap my Achilles. But, okay. But yeah, like, Awafam, an absolute, like, she is, if you haven't watched Awafam play, like, I can't really show the clips on live because I don't know what way the copyright's going to be showing her clips. But, like, if you have not watched Awafam play, like, she is 6'4". She's got she's got a little bit of a handle. Her jump shot looks so nice. It doesn't go in yet. But again, she's 18, and at 18, she is, like, legitimately starting. How Hunter has got the scouter so much, because all European games are on YouTube. They're all on YouTube. Like, you have to, if you want to watch the European Championships. So all the qualifiers, all the European Championship qualifiers, Eurobasket qualifiers, are all on YouTube. All the underage championships are on YouTube. So, like, the under-20s Euros, the let's talk basketball in chat. This is a basketball chat. Like, let's not go too far with this. Like, just talk ball. But the under-20s, the under-18s. So she played under-18s last year. She played 20s last year. She's going to be playing for the Spain under-20s national team in the European Championships. And I think the World Cup is this year. The World Cup is this year. So she's going to be representing Spain in the World Cup. But if you look at the under-19s 2020, if you look at the 2023 World Cup, so if you look at the FIBA World Cup, she went and she was like All-Star 5, I'm pretty sure. Or at least wasn't far off it. So if you look at this, USA won, Spain were second. But if you look at the final, where's the final? Bracket, yeah. So Spain faced Lithuania in the quarterfinals. They played Canada in the semis. And this is a Canadian team, if I'm not mistaken, that has Silas Swords on it. So they played Canada. And then obviously in the final, I need to find the bracket here. Sorry, this is FIBA is the worst website ever if you've ever you've ever seen it. So USA played France in the semis, and USA killed France in the semis. But like USA only beat Spain by 3. So USA only beat Spain by 3. USA had Hannah Hidalgo, had Kiki Rice, Madison Booker, Cody McMahon, Chloe Kitts, Ali Zaibel, Joyce Edwards, Grace Van Sluten. They only beat Spain by 3. And Awafam playing 2 years up? 2 years up. A 16-year-old Awafam has 11 points against this team. So she's 2 years younger than all of these players. She outscores Madison Booker, 2 years younger, in a World Cup final that is neck and neck the entire way. And like this USA team again, played against a good France team with Leila Lacan, who's going to be playing for the Sun this year, who's solid, like playing well in EuroLeague. And then obviously the USA team is insane. And in Spain, the semi-final against Canada, Awafam at 17 points, again, 2 years younger than everybody else, against a Canadian team who have Cassandra Prosper, Silas Swords, and Toby Fournier. So the 3 of them are on the team, and a 2 year younger than everybody, Awafam has 17 points. Like, there's a reason why Awafam is seen by a lot of people as the number 1 prospect. Like, she is so good. LSU's going to lead the league in turnovers. 100%. Like my take on lesser known players. But it's like, they're only lesser known players because of the way WNBA's scouting and everything is. Emma Mason should come to the W. I think she is coming to the W, but she's not going to say a word until Eurobasket's over. She wants to win Eurobasket. That's her goal. She wants to win Eurobasket. Yeah. Daily lives. Bit of fun. I mean, just chat ball. We can just chat pure basketball here. But yeah, so, like, that's the thing. It was like Dominique Malonga. I've been talking about Dominique Malonga for the last 8 months. And people only figured out who Dominique Malonga was. Like, do you have a shirt with I don't rate blank would be awesome. Now, when is Eurobasket? So Eurobasket is the middle of June to the start. It's like the 18th to 29th of June. But the players probably leave it around the 14th, 15th and come back early July. So basically, the players miss probably 7 games in the season. So a lot of people were wondering, it's like, why would anyone sign a European player? But I'm like, they're still there for 37 games. So you'd rather not have them, but you can get them for pennies on the dollar. Like, you could get Emma Mason, who's a max contract player, for $50K for the second half of the season. Because that's all the good teams have, and she's going to a contender. Like, that's it. She's going to a contender. So she's going to be, obviously, Emma to the Fever confirmed. I think she'd be unbelievable for the Fever. Fever legit in the running for it. Yeah. The Fever are, the Liberty are, the Lynx are, but so is anyone. Whoever's good are in the running for it. Like, if the Fever started off the season badly, they're out of the running. Like, if the Fever had a 6 seed going into Eurobasket, or at the end of Eurobasket, they're out of the running. And, like, there's a non-0% chance that happens to the Fever. Like, lads, what are we doing? I'm just going to block chat for a few minutes, lads. What are we doing? Can we just keep this basketball? Can we just talk about basketball? Like, lads. Oh, come on. Timeout. Just talk basketball. There's nothing to be gained by this. The 6 seed will be bad. I agree the 6 seed will be bad. But, like, when it comes to the Fever, it's not out of the realm of possibility. I don't mean by the end of the season. But, like, this is a brand new team. Like, this Indiana Fever team is brand new. And I genuinely think that when it comes to the Fever, as much as the expectation should be that they should be like a championship level team, and I actually agree with that. I think expecting them to be the best team day one is like, not that it's not possible. There is a genuine good chance that the Fever are the best team or one of the best teams. The Fever could win 35 games. But there's always, when you could bring in so many new players, there's always, I'm using the freaking Taurasi language. There's always an adjustment, a quote-unquote adjustment period And, like, if we look, the best example I'll always give is this. The Miami Heatles. The Miami Heatles. Like, we remember the Miami Heatles with Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and LeBron James. This team started off 9-9 in their first season. They actually started off 9-9. So, they ended the season pretty well. They started off 9-9, and by the end of the season, they were 58-24. So, for the rest of the season, they went 49-15, which is elite, which is more than a 60-win pace. But they didn't start off the greatest straight away. So we're looking at a team where it's like they might go into the Eurobasket month as the 5th seed. And that's fine. Because if the Fever hover around 3rd, 4th, 5th seeds for the year and end up in the 2-3 range, because I think that there is a possibility that the Fever end up as the 1 seed overall. But I just think that continuity matters. And I think one of the biggest reasons why the Lynx were so good last year was because they had the continuity. They had the continuity. It wasn't like they were bringing in any new stars. They brought in Courtney Williams. They brought in Lana Smith from the Chicago Sky. So they came in and were upgrades on Jessica Shepard, who was playing at the 4, and I can't even remember who was running the 1 for them before that. But they were upgrades on a non-playoff team. And you're looking at a team realistically with 5 players left from last year and 7 new ones. And I do think there's going to be a little bit of an adjustment period. Like, it could be 1 game, it could be 10 games, it could be 15 games. But I think once the Fever, and when it comes to this as well, it's about peaking at the right time. Let's not forget who were the best team. Who were the best team to start last season? The Connecticut Sun. The Connecticut Sun beat the Liberty. They won 11 games straight last year. But by the end of the year, the Connecticut Sun were the 3rd seed and nearly blew the 3rd seed. Like, the Connecticut Sun last season genuinely nearly blew the 3rd seed. They ended up 1 game ahead of the Aces. The Sun won 11 straight games to start the year. For the rest of the year, they went 17-12. Whereas the Minnesota Lynx, I think they lost 2 games after the Olympic break. They went 14-2 post-Olympic break. And realistically, they should have probably won a championship. They went 14-2 post-Olympic break. And the only reason they weren't the overall top seed was because Fee Collier got injured for about 5 or 6 games prior to the Olympics. When you look at the Liberty only added in a Leonie Phoebish from last season. Obviously, Niara Sabli got healthy, but they realistically only added in Leonie Phoebish. For the Seattle Storm started off pretty well as well. They kind of faded. The Mercury ended up sub 500. So you're looking at all these teams, and it's like, even the Aces were hovering around 500 for a while. They just went on a huge winning streak to end the season, then blitzed the Storm in the playoffs. They just came up against a juggernaut. So it's all about peaking at the right time. It really is all about peaking at the right time when it comes to this season. So, like, I think the Fever are in my contenders category. Like, if I was to make, like, tier lists, I would have my favorites being and this is obviously as teams are constructed right now. If MMA Sabin joins the Aces suddenly go into the championship favorites tier. Like, we have to know. I'm basing this based on current knowledge, but, like, if I was making a tier list, the Lynx and the Liberty are would be in the favorites tier. They'd be in the favorites tier as the 2 best teams. And I think the Liberty got a little bit better. But, like, so, like, just, like, how much better is Maureen Johannes than Sloot? A little bit better. How much better is Tash Cloud than Benigelini Hamilton? Probably it's a lateral step. The big difference is that they're not going to throw Phoebish on the end of the bench this year. She's going to be in the starting lineup. So that's kind of their improvement there. The Lynx, Carly Samuelson and Chechi Zandalasini is a lateral move. Badian from Heinz Allen just did not work for them last year. Grace Berger as another option at the point guard position, so they don't have to run Haydem as their backup or run Courtney Williams exclusively at the 1, is a pickup. And you also have to take into account that they brought back Jessica Shepherd, who isn't the greatest starting power forward, but her as a backup means they actually have a backup power forward. That is an upgrade for what they need over Maisha Hines-Allen. So you've got that. You've got that then for their team. And you've also got to take into account that not only do you have like Maisha Hines-Allen, Jessica Shepherd in, that there has been a huge improvement in Dorka Juhas. So the team that really needed a backup center, like Alana Smith was the most important player for the Lynx last year. And I think a lot of people thought that if you just look at the record, they actually fared better with Fee off the court than with Alana Smith off the court because they didn't have a real backup for Alana Smith. And with Fee off the floor, you can kind of run, because they don't really run true bigs, they can kind of go with 4 kind of guards. You can move Caitlyn McBride up there to Caitlyn McBride up to the 4. They move Chechi a little bit to the 4. So when it comes to those two teams, they're still the best. But then the Fever is on paper the best team, is like on paper the only team that should be able to compete with them. Because on paper, they are like, no one should be able to guard them. And should get a pretty good look how they, good idea how the Fever look in exhibition and a few preseason games. You should never, 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 and I mean this, never overestimate preseason. As a Miami Heat fan, James Ennis is the preseason GOAT. James Ennis looks like the best basketball player in the world in preseason for a while. I thought he was going to do something for us. And we cannot forget that the Sky beat the Liberty by 40 points in preseason last year. They beat them by 40. 40. By 40 points. Preseason does not matter at all. The Dallas Wings were undefeated in preseason last year. The Dallas Wings won like 8 games last year. And don't worry. The time to worry about the Fever is if they're in the 6-7. Because my prediction is that there's going to be a 6 and the rest. I think one of the other teams might break into this. But when it's all said and done, the top 6 teams are the Fever. It's the same as last year. Except the Mercury are going to go into the top 6. Because the Mercury is just an interesting one. So it'll be the Sun out Mercury in the same top 6 as last year. If the Fever are closer to the Wings, Sky, Sparks, those teams, if they're closer to those type of Dream, if they're closer to them than they are to Lynx, Liberty, Mercury, Storm, Aces, then I'm worried. And especially if they're closer to them teams coming into August. I wouldn't be worried about whatever the Fever do till the 1st of August. Because my prediction is they're going to have an okay start. They're going to have a super fast start. They're going to probably blitz 1 or 2 teams in their first 5 games. Then there's just going to be a little bit of a lull because teams will start to kind of figure them out. And you've got Stephanie White, who's very good coach at making adjustments. She's going to figure something out, and they're going to have a few highs and lows in the season. I think 3rd seed is probably where they're going to be. Is probably where they're going to be situated in the year. So until we get into August, realistically, there's no point worrying too much about the record of Fever. I'd be more looking about how they're playing and how they're playing in wins. Is that sustainable? Is it replicable? And what's gone wrong in the losses? Is the losses because the other teams played well? Are the losses because they have glaring weaknesses? Are the losses because, like last year, their weaknesses from game 1 were still their weaknesses in the playoffs because of a lack of evolution in their team? If, say, there's a huge weak point in the Fever and teams are able to exploit that, how they work to fix that. And by August, you should see something. You should genuinely see by August how the Fever not are going to look in the playoffs, but you should see them throwing a different bunch of looks out there, throwing a bunch of different lineups, seeing what works. And by then, we can make it like an accurate representation or like an accurate opinion on how they're going to be for the season. It looks really good. My guess is 3rd seed, but I'm making this video because a lot of people were saying, as I said, they could be the 4th, 5th seed coming into Eurobasket. And people were saying there's not a chance. And I'm like, there is. As much as it's as likely that they have a little bit of a tough adjustment period as it is they blitz the league and are a top seed. The reality is they're probably going to be somewhere in the middle. But if you are a Fever fan, you have to kind of expect everything. And I trust the coach. I trust the players. I trust the team, the GM, that they brought the players in, that they'll figure it out by the playoffs. But one of the worst things was last year, the team peaked 3 weeks before the playoffs, and they went in on a bad streak in the playoffs and then carry that bad streak into game 1, which is what you don't want to see happening. But yeah. Yeah. Do they give championship rings? They give championship rings and everything. Not in Europe. We get gold medals, but you get medals in most places, not rings. I don't like the aces this year. I like AJ Wilson's AJ Wilson. We can be honest, like AJ's AJ. Whatever you want to say about AJ as a person, whether or not you like her, I don't particularly like her. But AJ Wilson's a really good basketball player. But like, I don't know what else they have. If the Fever sign Mason, do they lose Rookie Timpson? No. No. So this is actually a really good point that I need to talk about. And a lot of people are very confused when it comes to the Fever's roster construction. So if we look at the Indiana Fever's team right now, their roster. So they're non-guaranteed players, contracts-wise. Their non-guaranteed contracts is Caitlyn Clark. That's it. Caitlyn Clark and DeWanna Bonner. They're not getting rid of DeWanna Bonner. I think one of the reasons why they have DeWanna Bonner a non-guaranteed contract is she's a little bit older, if she gets injured, and maybe there was some sort of a deal that was made that if she changed her mind, it wasn't an issue. And maybe there was something there, but I don't know why she's on a non-guaranteed deal. But obviously, Caitlyn Clark has not had a rookie deal picked up, nor is it a guaranteed deal. So players on guaranteed contracts for the Fever. Colson's on a guaranteed. Dantas is on a guaranteed contract. Hull's on guaranteed money. I think Bree Turner's on a guaranteed contract. Cunningham's guaranteed. Aaliyah Boston has only recently become guaranteed. Natasha Howard's guaranteed. Kelsey Mitchell's guaranteed. So with all their guaranteed contracts, and with the assumption that they're not going to just cut Caitlyn Clark or DeWanna Bonner, they have $111,000 in free cap room. So the rookie minimum contract is $66,000. And all of Jillian Lane, Jaylen Brown, Yvonne Ejim, Michaela Timpson, and Bree Hall are all going to be there for $66,000. The Fever do not have the ability to sign more than one of those players immediately. Almost certainly they're going to sign Michaela Timpson. Like, that's just a given. We know they're going to sign Michaela Timpson. It is just a given. So, with that being said, unless they make a trade, they can't bring in anyone else, and they're not going to make a trade. So, I would assume they're going to bring Michaela Timpson. And what is going to end up happening then with Michaela Timpson in there is that they still have the guts of $50,000 in salary, which is not enough. It is not a minimum contract. But when it comes to the second half of the season, this is happening in the middle of the season. Eurobasket. 18th to the 29th of June. Eurobasket is happening. So when it comes to that, there is obviously going to be a lot of players that are currently not in the WNBA that might consider coming over after Eurobasket. So there's not going to be any prioritization rules. There's not going to be any. So they can sign someone straight from Eurobasket. And the money that isn't a minimum contract is going to be enough to sign someone for part of the season. It's going to be enough. Bree Turner is not a protected contract. Okay, so they can cut Bree Turner then. They're not going to cut Bree Turner. I'm just putting it there. They're not cutting Bree Turner. Bree Turner has, they're not going to cut her early anyway. They might cut her later on in the year, but they're not going to cut her early. The problem is, if things start. But if we look even at the Olympics, and we look at some good teams that will be playing in Eurobasket. So we look at, say, the French team. So if they need extra point guard play, Marine Photo is not... I don't know if a team has her rights. I don't think a team has her rights. But she's somebody that could potentially be up for grabs post-Olympic break. So she got undrafted? No, sorry, the Liberty have her rights. Why did the Liberty have everyone's rights? Why did the Liberty have any rights? Does Valerie Ayai Or Valerian Ayayi. Does anyone have her rights? Why did Liberty just have the rights to every French player? No, so nobody has her rights. She was an Olympic All-Star. A team might go and look to bring her in. Obviously, there were a few players that were brought in by the Valkyries. The Valkyries have brought in a lot of players. Or did somebody sign her? The Valkyries seem to just have the rights to everybody. But you can always just look for these players. Like, again, if you're looking at Belgium, if you're looking at the Belgian team, obviously MMA Simon is that player. And I would have suggested, maybe you can bring in like a Kiara Linskens. Like if you are Belgium, obviously because Eurobasket's on, you could have brought in a Kiara Linskens, but obviously she got signed by the Valkyries, who just got everybody. But there are players there like that might. Like his class, she was signed, wasn't she, by a team? Or is she young? Was she signed? Either way, whoever's doing well at Eurobasket, there's bound to be players. There's a lot of players on the Spanish team. And again, I don't even know who has the rights to these players. But there are players that can be signed after Eurobasket. Not only that, there are Americans that can be signed. Like, if we saw last year, Odyssey Sims was averaging 17 points per game. Prioritization rules had to be here day one. That's if you're signing a year-long contract. You don't have to be there day one. Like, for example, there are tons of players like Kennedy. A team could sign Kennedy Carter in August. Like, it's possible. Someone's going to sign Kennedy Carter. It won't be the Fever. But when it comes to that, the Fever have the money to sign someone for part of the season. But you never know what's going to happen with other WNBA teams. There could be a player that gets released by a team, just like, say, the Mercury when the Fever released Celeste Taylor. There could be a situation where a player comes back from injury and they bring in a player and they end up cutting said player after the player gets hurt. So, obviously, that's something that could end up happening. There could be players that have been gotten rid of from other teams. You never know. Maybe for the second half of the year, if no one picks up Bree Hall, they might bring back Bree Hall. So, the Fever aren't stuck with 11 for the entire season. They are stuck with 11 players for at least part of the season. But if we don't remember last year, like, the Chicago Sky just cut Kaiser Gondrzic. Like, they literally just cut her. So they had an extra roster spot. And they were able to use that extra roster spot to bring in Mariah Jefferson's contract in the Marina Mabry deal, which allowed them to get off Marina Mabry and get a lottery pick next year. So, with that being said, when it comes to the Fever, is like, they're going to bring in one more player. It probably won't be, like, I'd say their training camp roster, they might bring in a few players that have no chance of making the team just to be on the training camp roster. Like, because they don't have enough players for a training camp roster, a full one. So they might bring in a few players with no chance of making the team. And with that being said, like, maybe they really like Yvonne Ejim and nobody picks up Yvonne Ejim. And she's going to be there for part of the season on a part-time, a contract that they can be afforded for part of the year. So, yeah, I don't know exactly how it all works. But when it came to, like, when it comes to someone like a Mason Man, like we saw last year, Gabby Williams. Gabby Williams played for, like, the minimum. Genuinely played for the minimum contract. And I think that it was a big thing for the Storm. Again, was she ain't great? No. But she was a very good player. I know they expect her to be an all-star, but no, Gabby Williams is a really, really good player. Elite defender and elite slasher. There's not much of a shooter, but it was kind of pointless having her there with Jordan Horston. But still, it's going to be interesting to see what ends up happening for the Fever when they go and sign, or if they sign a player, who they sign, or whether they just run with 11 for the year. I doubt they run with 11 for the year, but you just never know. What does Ken is not coming back this year mean? Yeah, there was no prioritization rule applied. The Storm getting better with addition by subtraction with Jewel Lloyd is an interesting one. Because there is a possibility. The problem is they just don't have a replacement. And the weird thing is that, Bree Hall just arrives to Indiana. Bree Hall has arrived to Indiana, lads. Bree Hall has arrived. And it would be interesting to see what ends up happening with her. Look, she's not going to make, barring injury, she's not going to make the roster. But let's see this right here. Bree Hall to Indiana right now. And she is there. They have the big welcome Bree Hall. Immediately got a picture. And she in the change room for the jersey? Yeah, she has her own locker. She has her own locker early on. These are, okay, yeah, this is just paper. I was about to say, is this permanent? No, these are just cards that slide in. That's fine. That is fine. Aaliyah Boston's best friend. That's the one reason I'm kind of worried they end up keeping her. But again, Bree Hall's not the worst player in the world. I thought when they were going to stash a player, Bree Hall might have been a player they were going to bring if they were going to take Kosu. But, yeah, it's a... Some saying, you have your own concern that Howard and Bonner won't be able to run the floor. DeWanna Bonner's only going to play 25 minutes a game, and Natasha Howard, if there's one thing she still can do, it's run the floor. Can she still defend? Not really. Is she foul prone? Yeah. But the one thing she still can do is run the floor. I watched a lot of her in Turkey. But yeah, she should make it. She plays more defense than most on the team. For Bree Hall to make the team, you have to trade Lexi Hull. Boston does not choose the roster. Sides ball days are over. I mean, you're not wrong. They did get rid of Victoria Saxton. I cannot believe they kept Victoria Saxton over Celeste Taylor. Celeste Taylor, the second that Celeste Taylor gets cut by the Fever, she gets signed. And then when the Mercury lose her, she gets signed by the Sun. And when the Sun lose her, she gets signed by the Mercury again. Victoria Saxton is not going to be a WNBA player probably again. And they kept her on the roster over Celeste Taylor. No, Saxon's no longer on the roster. But it would be interesting. It would be interesting to see when it comes to Bree Hall. But, it's interesting now to see that she's here. But as well as that, all the rookies are coming in today, by the way. All the rookies are coming in. It's not just Bree Hall. I saw a post on... Here. I saw this tweet from the Fetty Film Twitter account. Yvonne Ejim in Indiana. You guys can't see it. She is in Indiana. So obviously the players are there. I just think it's crazy that someone would get drafted or signed and it might be the last few days of their career. They moved the roster up to 15. Yeah, I think they said they wanted it to be 16 teams in the league. And they now, with one more team, they now have the teams. They now have the exact amount of teams they've been looking for. So I would assume that it'll be rosters 15 soon. But yeah, Bree Hall is such an interesting one because I actually think I would really if the Fever had the money for Bree Hall, I would love them to keep Bree Hall. They just don't have the money. They really don't have they just don't have the money. She's a good shooter and she's a good defender. But it would involve trading Lexi Hull. And not only trading Lexi Hull, it would involve trading Lexi Hull for nothing. You can't... It would involve giving Lexi Hull away. Because you can't even cut Lexi Hull. The only Sides would have waved Timpson by now. Of course she would have waved Timpson by now. Sides did not believe in running. Christy Sides would have drafted Sedona Prince. For, slow down big players And if not Sedona Prince, maybe she would have drafted... No Lynn Dunn, she would have drafted Ioka Lee even when she said she didn't want to play basketball anymore. But yeah, it's really an interesting one. And it's good to see, though, with these players. And it's good to see the Fever again. Even players that probably don't make the roster. It's good to see them being treated as well as possible when they're in Indiana, being treated like superstars. Because, as I've said tons of times, it's important to treat these players like superstars because you literally might have to bring them back. You might have to bring them back. When it comes to the Fever, they still have the roster spot for later on in the season to get someone on a part-time contract, to sign someone on a short-term contract. So they have that type of money, which they can use. And, like, when it comes to Bree Turner, or say not Bree Turner, Jesus, Bree Hall, unless they do cut Bree Turner, which I don't think that's going to happen. I think Bree Turner has enough in the bank and is like, she's done enough in her career that she's going to start the year, like she's going to at least start the year with the Fever. They might get rid of her at some stage, but if you are the Fever, keeping players as happy as possible, keeping these rookies as happy as possible is a good thing, because if Bree Hall starts bouncing from team to team on 10 days, and then we get to like July, and Bree Hall is a player the Fever want to keep, there's a possibility that she's back. And it's not a Celeste Taylor situation where Celeste Taylor sat on the bench and watched Christy Wallace start the entire year, watched her come on and change games when she came on. I know it was a garbage time, but her speed changed games. Her being a perfect teammate for Caitlyn Clark and her sitting on the bench. And obviously, the Mercury took her, and there was never a chance that Fever were going to be able to retain a player like that, who I do think, if Celeste Taylor would still be on the team if they just hadn't cut her. So, yeah, it is an interesting one. Thank you, Ben. Keep rushing it. Same to yourself. Good to see. People obviously. It's good to see so many people covering the WNBA, and that's one of the things where it's like, it doesn't really matter if you like the people's opinions or not. It's good to see so many people covering the same topic and giving people's opinions. And obviously that's not directed towards him. I'm not gonna lie, Ben. I've just seen the titles of your videos. I haven't watched any. I'm just making that point there, when it's like, it's good for the WNBA, because if you look at NBA media, there's so much social media, people seeing news, talking about it, and going and creating the news. And it's mad that now in the WNBA, the media has done such a bad job that social media is bigger than the damn media. It's crazy. But it's wild they got Sophie from Alyssa and drafted a better version with the pick they got. I mean, there's no such thing as another version of Alyssa Smith. Alyssa Smith isn't Alyssa Smith. Like, this season is make or break for Alyssa Smith. If Alyssa Smith has a bad year this year, she might be out of the league. And there's only so far potential can get you, and like being a slow down, back down scorer. Like, there's only so far. But I think Michaela Timpson's almost certainly going to make the roster anyway. But it is good to see, again, these rookies still being treated like celebrities, being treated like big players, even if they're not going to make the team, because you never know. Bree Hall is one injury away from making it. So, yeah, that is the video. See you guys. How are you, Ben? How are you? It's good, and it's good to see so many people killing it with WNBA content. And it is such an important thing. And I'm even going to say, like, it's even good to see people on the complete opposite side that probably hate my guts, like a Showtime Sports, like those guys, succeed, because you realistically want, no matter what it is, it's good that there are people, hardcore fans of people. Like, obviously, when it's talking about basketball most of the time, you ideally want it to be talking about basketball, but what Caddy Engelbert said was right. It is good for the league. These rivalries and stuff are good for the league. And as long as it doesn't cross a line like Age's friend, I do think some of these things are good. But yeah, keep doing you, Ben. Keep doing you. I have seen, obviously, your channel pop up in recommendations quite a bit, but keep doing you. But yeah, lads, that is... I'm probably going to end the stream right there. How long have we been live for? We've been live for an hour and 15 minutes. And some familiar faces in chats. And obviously there is a big, like, overlap in... You just hope everyone keeps respectful this year. Like, hopefully that's the case. Yeah, I was about to say... Oh, yeah, sorry. Yes. When I'm finished, I will send you guys. Thank you for reminding me, Chris. Thank you. Yeah, there's so many there's a lot of good WNBA content creators. Like the one thing the WNBA is missing is like a thinking basketball type, but like it's kind of hard to do that when there's not quite a amount of views. But when it comes to like news content, people talking about it, like there is an awful lot of those creators. So it's a good thing to see. It is genuinely a good thing to see, and it's always, and one thing that I really like is that we're not, as much as we all cover the same topics, we don't all say the same things. We're all different people. We're all going to give different opinions on topics, which is great to see. And obviously the likes of Robin, Rosalina Lee as well, just everyone. And that's one of the things where it's like 100 people can talk about the same topic. If they give 100 different opinions, it's a big thing. It is a big thing. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to end the stream right there, and the Pope Be Frank song is going to be linked in the chat when I do. So anyway, I will see you guys.